How's it going, Salisbury Knights? My name is Thayer Kacher. I'm a sixth former on the Hilltop, and I'm joined by Salisbury alum and now a Who's That Night podcast guest, Tim Weiss. Mr. Weiss graduated from Salisbury School in 2008 and attended Colorado College and received his MBA from CU Boulder. After that, he went into a variety of fields and settled in the business and environmental world. He is currently the founder and CEO of Optera. I'd now like to welcome in Mr. Weiss. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Well, let's jump right into it. So, I would first like to ask you about your experience at Salisbury. How many years did you spend on the hilltop, and what did you enjoy about it most?
So I arrived, I would, I think January of my sophomore year. So I did 2.5 years on the Hilltop, and I really liked Salisbury a lot. It was a pretty transformative experience for me. My brother was also a Salisbury School alum. He was a year ahead of me. But for me, I loved the kind of camaraderie and really the sense of brotherhood that I had with my classmates and fellow students. I felt like we had really tight bonds in a way that was really good for me at that age in high school. I felt like I was able to find uh, find my voice in a way as kind of a and kind of identify who I was and through those relationships, through academics, through athletics, through music. So yeah, it was a great experience. It certainly helped build my confidence as a person in a meaningful way.
That's awesome. And can you remind me where you're from again, originally?
I grew up kind of all over the U.S., but I was born in New York. I lived there for first 10 years of my life. Then I moved out to Wyoming. I lived in Jackson Hole. Um, and then for part of middle school, I lived down in Texas. And then ultimately, my family settled back in Jackson Hole. So I kind of am a childhood of the U.S. A child of the U.S. I'd say. But yeah, my latter years of high school are obviously in the Northeast. So I feel like I got a sampling of all the states or many of the states.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what made you choose Salisbury? Like, how did you find out about it, and how did you end up here? I know you really enjoyed your time here. Sounds like you like the camaraderie, but what really brought you here?
Ultimately, I my brother had a really great experience. So he's a year and a half older than me. Um, I went to Eagle Brook for middle school, and really, heard the experience that my brother had at Salisbury as a student, and felt like he was in a really, you know, strong environment where he could focus on developing himself as a whole person, and I liked it. And yeah, so I would say he was one of the big reasons as to why I ended up at Salisbury.
Are there any things that you really took away and that you learned from Salisbury that you were able to apply later in life?
You're really able to learn far more from your teachers than just curriculum material. I think your teachers have so much more of an influence on who you are and how you're developing as a person. And I had some really uh, terrific relationships with teachers at Salisbury that really helped, you know, me find, really figure out who I am. And ultimately, like, I ended up being kind of student body president at the end of Salisbury. And I don't think I would have had necessarily the confidence to do that or to kind of find my voice as a leader in those settings had it not been for those relationships with those teachers.
Well, speaking of leadership, you were very. It looks like you were very involved at Colorado College. I see that you are a student social sciences representative on the committee of instruction. I was kind of curious about that. What exactly that was, and what was your role there?
Yeah. So my role, essentially, Colorado College. I love Colorado College. I can speak, really, highly of my education experience there. Um, but that group was kind of a committee with the dean and kind of the heads of different of the social sciences, head of natural sciences, different departments, and essentially we were tackling kind of big issues of how students and curriculum was developed and designed for folks across all departments. And so I was essentially the student representative from the social sciences, because I was studying environmental policy, which spanned economics, political science, environmental science. And I think that for me, that experience really helped me find, I was able to help inform what I thought were good changes to be made at the college. But first and more than anything, I was able to really collaborate with professors and deans at almost kind of a peer level, and able to figure out like what it's like to participate in more of a boardroom type setting, which to me has helped me tremendously in my career, being on boards and having different opportunities in my life. So it was really a taste of how I could help a larger organization kind of, think through and work through certain challenges.
You mentioned how you apply them to your life today. How do you apply those skills at Optera, the company you founded in 2015?
Yeah, so Optera is a software company focused on helping big corporations address climate change. So we are trying to help solve the climate crisis. Most companies functionally are the source of most emissions around the globe, and so our company is really dedicated to helping corporations move the needle in a meaningful way. So for me, I would say that that experience helped me, but my whole life, a lot of the things that I've done, I draw on all of that for my job now. So I'm currently CEO and one of the co-founders, and to me, my job is about empowering my team to do its best work, and to ensuring that I really am setting people up for success.
I'd like to kind of go back to the founding of your company. I think many of us, we see these entrepreneurs, whether it's Shark Tank, whether it's, I guess a reality TV show like The Profit. You see these TV shows, where, these small businesses are starting up, whether they're starting from their basement, with their dad, and it's just kind of they're really cool stories. Is there anything in particular that enabled you to develop your company?
Yeah, I can tell you a little bit of the origin story, and then kind of also I think what enabled me to do it in a way where so I met the other co-founders of Optera back in 2015 when I was in business school. I was working for a large commercial scale renewable energy company as well at the time. Um, I was interested in getting into the field of corporate sustainability, but I was interested in doing something in a way that was really scalable, and that we could grow and have a more sizable impact. And so I had different experiences in my life, had been involved in kind of venture funding and venture capital and social kind of enterprises and startups and things. Um, but at this point, Jason and I met, and we were. He had a boutique consulting firm at the time that was helping corporations kind of help them manage energy and emissions and sustainability related issues strategically. And they work with a lot of big companies. And so I was interested in learning from his experience and seeing how we could work together to start something more scalable. We did market research together for about 6 months, interviewing, chief sustainability officers from organizations from Procter and Gamble, Coca-Cola, GM, many kind of big companies that Jason and Ty, my other co-founders, have experience working with, to figure out how they're addressing their energy and emission problems at scale. And we found that they just really didn't have a good solution. And so that was kind of the impetus for everything. I fast forward 6 months, I left AES and joined Jason and Ty, and we started building a software company. So like practically, for me, I knew going into this that there was a meaningful problem to solve, and there was likely a good market to go after. I would say the other big thing that contributed to my ability to help start this organization is honestly kind of this might be a little controversial, but hopefully not. But like my privilege, I think that there's a lot of students at Salisbury and a lot of folks that have they come from means and they come from parents who have really set them up for success. Whether that's getting through college without a tremendous amount of student loans, whether that's having really great access to good education. And for me, I kind of knew and acknowledged the privilege that I had early on in life. And I wanted to make sure that I used my talents and my career for something that actually mattered to me and felt like I was actually making a difference. And I was willing to take risks to do that because I could take risks because I had the support of my my upbringing and I had a backstop of kind of successful parents who had given me the opportunity to start my life without student loans. And so with that opportunity, I just had the risk tolerance and the ability to kind of go 2 feet in. And I knew I could, if things didn't work out, I would be able to find another job because of my professional experience to date and my education background and other things. So I was able to take the risks necessary to get the business going and get things off the ground.
Man, I was going to ask you if you had any other advice for me and my Salisbury brothers, but I think that's pretty good advice right there. Let me ask you one thing about just Salisbury in particular, and then I'll let you go. Is there anything that any time that you miss this place, you feel like, dang, I wish I could be back at Salisbury for one more day, one more night in Payson or wherever, whatever dorm it may be? Like, are there any moments where like, geez, I wish I was back at Salisbury?
There are some. Like, there's I really value team sports. I really do. I had the opportunity to play soccer, lacrosse, and hockey at Salisbury. I was also on the ski team, and like I was able to kind of really cherish kind of athletics, but also music. So I was in the gospel choir and jazz ensemble, and kind of the camaraderie that goes along with those groups, and particularly team sports. As a kid growing up, like it's pretty special. I will say it is something that, as an adult, you don't have readily, like you don't have access to kind of that feeling of true kind of we're in this together team mentality, other than work if you're in a really highly functional team and things are great. And so I really loved that time. I cherished that. I think Salisbury does a great job of providing those opportunities for their students. And so, I definitely missed I love those memories of kind of the team sports and kind of, trying and, I don't know, just competing together as a group. I definitely love that.
I asked my last question. I lied. I got one more kind of fun one. Uh, what was your go-to at Beelan? Did you ever have a go-to snack that you get there?
Oh God.
I know it's been a while.
It's like, it's like so long ago. I don't even remember what I ate. Or I feel like I got like chicken strips and fries a bunch, maybe. I don't
Sounds
know if
about
that's
right.
still in the menu, but
Oh, it is. Some things don't change.
nice. Well, yeah, nice. I'm also happy to take you up on the advice question too. I'm happy to leave some unsolicited advice too if you want. But yeah, either way.
Yeah, sure. I'd love that. I mean, if yeah, we got time here. Yeah, if you have any advice.
To not set their values aside, to find a place of work and find something you care about truly that you think matters to you, and you feel like you're making a difference in the world. And it takes a little bit of risk. One of the benefits you have of having a background like you will coming out of Salisbury and higher education, is that you can take that risk and it's worth it. I think it really does pay off every time when people follow their principles, their values, and they kind of dedicate their career to something that they really believe in. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's an environmental cause or a social cause. It could just be a company that you think contributes good things to the world. That's perfectly reasonable. But I just encourage people to do that. Don't just go after the easiest thing to do, and maybe the lowest friction opportunity. Go after things that you think really speak to you and to your principles and values.
Sounds good. Well, Mr. Weiss, thank you so much for your time. That's all for me. Thanks for listening.